Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope everyone's been having a better week than what Ten Hag has, than what Manchester United have had as a club. So let's get into the news. And first and foremost, I went with the player part again as the thumbnail, as the big title, as the big subject of today's show. So let's get into it, because this once again is rearing its head at Manchester United. This once again is proving to be an issue with this football club, and that is internal leaks. That is players running to the press behind the manager's back. This is the same group of players who time and time again have let down management at this club. Be it Louis van Gaal, be it David Moyes, be it Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick. It's quite the extensive list of managers who have filled up Manchester United, and Ten Hag seems to be falling victim to the exact same story as all other managers who came before him. And I think it's sad. I genuinely do, because this is the state of play of Manchester United. And I guarantee it, a lot of those players who are coming out and speaking out against favouritism, about some players getting preferential treatment, I guarantee those are players who could have left in the summer as well. I guarantee it. Be it a Harry Maguire, be it a Donny van de Beek, be it a Jadon Sancho. These are players who have made their own mistakes and probably should have moved on by this point already. But here we find ourselves, and they're the ones running to the press. So let's get into the first story. This is coming in from Samuel Luckhurst of Manchester Evening News. So dressing room sources have said some Manchester United players believe Ten Hag has favourites in the squad he is not prepared to single out for criticism, while they feel others are routinely hounded on by the manager. A number of players are starting to tire of Ten Hag's criticism of their performances, and some Manchester United players feel they've been put in a bad position to put out tactical instructions, as they're feeling the squad approach has been compromised by the indefinite absence of Anthony. Well, look, I don't think it takes an expert to be able to tell you guys, first and foremost, that a lot of these fringe players, a lot of the players who will be running to their agents, a lot of those players who are going to the press, where is the performance levels if whenever they get given a chance? Because every time we have to use a couple of different players, United's performance level goes through the floor. It really, really does, guys. First and foremost, I want to give some people a shout out in the comments. Stephanie's in there. Good to see you. You're going for a 3-0 win with a Hoyland double. That will be a lovely one as well. And yeah, guys, we're very close to 2K, so I think we need 13 subs. So please hit that sub button if you guys want to join in with the community here on the channel. Shade's in the comment as well. Good to see you, man. Hope all's good. Yeah, coming live slightly earlier tonight as well. Just have some things on at the normal time, but I wanted to get live and get the show up and running for you guys as well. So speaking of that match as well, that Stephanie just alluded to in her comment, Manchester United play Burnley at the weekend, so that's the poll for today's stream as well. What's your prediction? A win, a loss, a draw? I feel like as bad as we've been and as poor as the results have been, I feel like we're going to win this one. I really do. I would be stunned if Manchester United can't win. Sheets down there. I think Ten Hag knows what's happening and what's going on at the club. Absolutely he will. And I'm sure he will have prepared for this. I'm sure this would have been on his that would have been on his agenda coming into the club. That was one of the things he did allude to during his press conference last week. He did say that part of the reason the club brought him in and what they wanted him to do was to reset the culture. There was a bad environment, a bad culture, and he had to work on it. Stephanie's down there. It's not favoritism. It's a reward for being professional in training and being loyal to the manager, so he will trust them. I would agree with that as well. Look, I don't think Ten Hag's completely free from any blame, because I do think he's made mistakes, but it's not as if the likes of Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Sancho, Martial, players like this, when they come onto the pitch, that they're dropping 10 out of 10 performances and then they're not getting picked. I could understand their annoyance if they were playing out of their skin and they weren't getting picked. But the truth is, these guys come on, they either half-ass it or they come on and they make the team worse. So why would he pick a player who's going to make the team worse? Either by their lack of quality or their lack of effort. Like, there is no reason at all for this. Luman's down in the comments as well. Good to see you, man. Hope all is good. Just a quick look at the poll as well. 12 votes so far, 92% going for the United win. I'm liking that one. But look, Ten Hag has spoke as well on the dressing room unrest. So he has addressed that sort of that sort of story that was breaking earlier. He has said, I don't know if it's a leak, but I know opinion. I know my players and everyone can make suggestions. We're okay with it. At United, you have to win every game so it doesn't change everything. It's about how we play at Burnley. There's no easy games, definitely not against Burnley. So, look, I think a lot of these guys, I think they got to up their effort levels. Like, if you want to play for this team, then work harder, be better on the pitch. It's not as if the bar is really high at the moment. We are crying out for anybody to put in some decent performances. And it's such a frustrating thing. I said the exact same thing about Jadon Sancho. And look, people can say, yes, Anthony might be favoured. But the bar of Anthony's performances were so low that I really doubt Sancho, if he was playing to anywhere near the player he could and should be, that he couldn't get in ahead of him. Who else is down there as well? Luman saying, I'm confused. I don't know who to believe, who not to believe. I know it's always a risky thing when we look at the stuff coming out of Manchester Evening News, Luckhurst, Talksport, guys like that. That's absolutely true as well. I think what we got to do is look at the past track record. This information is coming from somewhere, be it from an agent, be it from a player, be it from a friend of a player as well. So it's coming from somebody. It is once again rearing its head, and I think what we can say for definite is why we may not want to believe these stories and why they may not be ultimately true. It's probably felt by a small group in the dressing room. And this is the exact same situation we had with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Every week he was called out for not having any tactics, no plan, and that was coming out from under the club. Everybody was saying Ranić had no idea what he was doing at the club every week. The exact same thing happened to Jose Mourinho. As soon as we stopped winning trophies, it was Mourinho's too cruel. His management is so poor, he just wants to attack the players. Van Gaal was called out of touch and outdated. Moyes was called underqualified. So this is a long running thing of Manchester United. Really is, guys. And Greg's down there as well. We live in a snowflake generation. Players cannot take and accept criticism. These players also want something for nothing and are not prepared to work for it. Modern day footballers are wimps, absolutely. So Fresh is down there as well. Good to see you, man. Sim is saying same players have been here for years. Get rid of every player that's been here for 4 years and not the youngsters. Look, it's maybe not a bad idea. Look, something big needs to happen. A reset button has to be hit. And I feel like the club's going to go down the usual route where we say, let's sack the manager and see what happens. And I've asked you guys as well, look, as we know, De Zerbi is a fantastic manager at Brighton, has been playing such amazing football, and they're really punching above their weight. But if De Zerbi came in, will he be the guy to change Manchester United? What has he got that Ten Hag doesn't, that Solskjaer didn't, that Mourinho didn't, that Van Gaal didn't, that Moyes didn't? It comes down to the culture. It comes down to what you get out of those players. And whenever we see stuff coming out that we weren't allowed to buy Harry Kane because Joel Glazer decided against it, or we saw Harry Maguire would not be sold early in the window because we would have to spend money on a replacement, that sort of breeds the culture of ineptitude at this club. It really does. Stephanie's down there. Snake Luckhurst of Manchester Evening News and needs to be told to name his sources for leaks or risk being suspended. Look, it's probably not a bad idea. It really isn't. A lot of journalists do come out, and we always see these stories come out at the exact same time. Now, every time Manchester United have a run 2-3 defeats in a row, these stories rear their head. It doesn't matter who the manager is. If it's Solskjaer, if it's Mourinho, if it's Ten Hag, if it's Ranić, everybody seems to have these stories come out about them pretty much the same time. It's a bad situation. It's frustrating, but this happens every single time. So Fresh is saying, why can't we resolve issues like the Sancho one without always selling the player for nothing? Ronaldo as well as a recent. Yeah, look, it's just the way this club run. It really is. The pretty much the lesson the players have learned over the last 10 years is don't criticize the manager, speak out against your manager, but don't speak out against the club and you'll be fine. And that's ultimately what it came down to. That's what I think the difference is if we're looking at the Ronaldo situation as well. There's more stuff has been dropping on this story as well. Let me just quickly pull up the rest of that full article. We have an interesting one coming in as well. Manchester United players unhappy with the treatment of David De Gea still. A group of first team players, according to Luckhurst as well, disagree with Ten Hag's decision to banish Sancho from the squad. I don't think he's got a choice. I really don't. I think that's just laying down the letter of the law. If I went into work and called out my boss in front of everybody, I would face repercussions. He also we got down here. Ashid is saying Brighton is a well-run club. He wouldn't be stupid enough to come to United when the current owners are in charge. Absolutely. Um, what exactly is it the Glazers want? Would they be worried like us as well, says Lehman? I think that's a good point. What the Glazer family want, I mean, it has always been the money. It's always been the profits. It's always been the financial. I don't think they care too much about the club. They quickly realized once Ferguson went that the money needed to be spent and to win a Premier League would be overall probably less profitable for the club than finishing in a Champions League place. So if you finish fourth and you make 200 million off it, is it worth spending 150 million pounds to finish first and get an extra 50 million? That's what the Glazer family are all about. It's finishing in those spaces. It's building up the value of this club. That's what I think they want. Hopefully they're going to go. Hopefully the sale takes place and United can finally be rid of the Glazers. Look, I did a video today. It dropped just before the show. If you guys want to check that out afterwards, we looked at this, but pretty much what I was saying in it, I don't think this club gets sorted. I don't think that the issues get fixed at Manchester United until the Glazer family go. Because once they go and owners come in who want to win, then you've got an environment that's going to breed success. Then all of a sudden, Richard Arnold is gone. John Murda is gone. Darren Fletcher, he's meant to be the technical director. He sits most weeks on the touchline. He will be gone. And people who know what they're doing and are good at their job will be brought in. And that's what I think is one of the biggest things. I think it's a cultural reset needed because it filters down from the top to the bottom. And ultimately, the players in the dressing room have learned over the last 10 years that a manager will be thrown under a bus before we ever really look at wholesale changes to Manchester United's team. And that's what it comes down to. And Sim has highlighted it in the comments as well. 4 managers have been thrown under the bus. No more throw the players out of the club. I would agree with that as well. A lot of people say it's modern football, but I don't think it is. I think it's a Manchester United problem. Other clubs have similar issues, yes, but I don't think it's a Manchester United problem. I think it all comes down to what is going on at this club. If you look at City, it's Pep Guardiola's way or no way. If you look at Liverpool, it's Klopp's way or no way. And they're backed by the club. They've got the support structure around them. Liverpool probably know their next manager before Klopp leaves. City probably know who comes after Pep. Manchester United, if we sacked Ten Hag, we would probably spend 2 weeks running around trying to get any sort of a short list drawn up. And it's yeah, look, whilst the guy is absolutely really good at his job, he shouldn't be immune from criticism. I think he's got things wrong, but I think a lot of it's coming down to how this football club's run. I really, really, truly believe that. And whenever you're seeing sources, and I really hope that they're made up, because if not, the issue's even worse, where the players at the club are having a go at Ten Hag and are falling out with Ten Hag because he drops Sancho for jumping onto his Twitter and publicly calling out the manager, leaving it up there for 2 weeks or so. That for me is a big issue. It really, really is. And it just shows that they're going to pick their mates over the manager. And Sim's down there as well. No more mates rates, absolutely. So Fresh is saying Glazers want 7 to 10 billion for the club and will not sell to 2025, where they estimate the club will be worth 10 billion. I don't know. I don't think the club's ever going to be worth that much. I really don't. I think when you've got Old Trafford rotting away, I think that's kind of going to be a big drain on resources. I think if we fall out of Champions League places, that's going to be a big drain on resources. I think they're going to go. I do. And I still think the business model won't survive the next 2 to 3 years. So I think they got to sell. Stephanie says in any other walk of life, the manager is paid more than the workers. Money always issues either too little or too much. Manager cannot get the blame for moving players. Absolutely he can't. But we're going to move on here a little bit, and we're going to have a look at the Burnley match for tomorrow. So what should be on paper a simple walk in the park for Manchester United, a match where we should be expected to win and walk out and be completely dominant in. All of a sudden, it's turned into a must-win match, a match that we cannot afford to lose. Stephanie says Klopp has been backed more than Ten Hag, two centre forwards, Nunes and Gakpo, two midfielders in the last window, Arnold and Murda out. Absolutely. Daniel thinks we're going to get smacked up by company. I don't think it's going to happen, man. And Phil Jones is still at the club. Yeah, look, I don't know what Phil Jones' role is at the club, but yeah, he's still here. We've seen him in training. But yeah, look, it's genuinely such a frustrating time to be a United fan. So moving quickly on to the news for the match tomorrow, a quick look at what Ten Hag has said in his press conference. So he has said, first and foremost, Harry Maguire we will see after training. Varane is training. Mount is training as well. Stefan Amrabat will train, and we will see what happens. But it looks like Amrabat will not be in the match tomorrow. He was training by himself. Now, we've seen Mount, we've seen Varane training with the rest of the squad. I would assume they're going to be in the team for tomorrow. 15 likes, says Stephanie. Thanks very much for the likes as well, guys. Big ups on that one. But yeah, look, Ten Hag even speaking about Sancho, he says, look, it depends on him for the rest. We are preparing for Burnley. He will not be in the squad. We're still waiting for that apology. We're still waiting for that handshake between Ten Hag and Sancho. That seems to be the only thing stopping his return. It doesn't even look like Ten Hag is demanding Sancho to get down on his knees and grovel on the ground and pay a penance and pay a fine. He just wants an apology. I don't think it's too much to ask for. I don't think it's too much to expect either. Sim says Kim Min-jae, United did not sign. We signed Johnny Evans. Absolute joke. Yeah, completely. Look, we could have signed Kim Min-jae. That's the player we wanted, and we've got Johnny Evans. And yeah, look, Johnny Evans has a long history at United. Yeah, he's an experienced player, but he is not what Manchester United need in this moment in time. He's really, really not, guys. But yeah, look, Ten Hag as well has also said on the match tomorrow. Let me just pull this up as well. And I think this is an interesting one because we've seen stories about the SEG agency, and this is something that was put out as a negative. But every single club in the world have a strong relationship with a certain agent. They've always had it, be it formerly Mino Raiola, be it Jorge Mendes. There's a lot of agents here very close to clubs. And look, Ten Hag on the influence of Kivos in the transfers, there is no conflict of interest because we agreed from the start how we cooperate. Decisions regarding players and transfers, it's always 50-50. We both have a veto, the club represented by John Murda and myself. So, look, I think that kind of rubbishes the talk we've seen midweek about Stefan Amrabat not being a Manchester United target, not being a player the club thought we're going to work out. Because if Murda had a veto, and if the club didn't think he's good enough, then why did they sign him in the first place? That's what we got to be asking as well. Chat sport down in the comments as well. How much are we saying Sancho goes for? 15-20 million? I think you got to be looking more if he's going to go. I really do. I think you got to be looking 30, 40, 45 million pounds. That's what the player's worth. I think United's got to be firm on this one as well. Daniel, didn't Jorge Mendes pass away, or was that someone else? That was Mino Raiola. The former agent of Paul Pogba, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of course. Sim says, ban Sancho from Winslow Road. Fallowfield smoking. Oh, dear, man. Gotta love that there one. Oh, dear, that's cracking me up. So, yeah, look, tomorrow's match, it's going to be an interesting one. 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. It can only be a Sky Sports thing. How much... Oh, sorry, that chat just disappeared as well. But yeah, look, it can only be a Sky Sports thing. 8 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday. Not great for anybody looking to get to the pub, unless you're watching in the pub, of course. But I will say this, it's a completely must-win match. We have to go out and win there. The expectation is that we win and win comfortably. I can see a little bit of confidence from you guys as well. 82% going for the win tomorrow, which is good considering the recent form. Can't say I'm not happy with that at all. But I do definitely think that United need to turn up. We need to put in a good performance and pick up some wins. The next group of players, the next group of fixtures are winnable matches. And we got to get this season back on track. Stephanie's down there, only listening now, is making dinner, thank God. I hear you say keep like hitting the like people as well. Am I doing a watch along tomorrow night? Possibly. I possibly will be. I will post tomorrow. If it's going to happen, because there is something else that I might have to go to as well. Hence why I did a video and did the live stream tonight as well. So want to get a couple of days content up at a time, but hopefully we will. Daniel, thoughts on Sancho playing EAFC while Bayern were playing? I mean, look, that's kind of just the levels of professionalism. Maybe that's why he's not in the team, because he's busy playing FIFA instead of actually watching and supporting his teammates, who he should have been with and who he would have been with if he just apologized to Ten Hag for coming out in public and questioning his authority and what he's telling of the truth. So like, it's pretty basic stuff, guys, as well. Really is. Lucky's down there as well. I want to play mentally more speed, a few goals. Yeah, absolutely, Lucky man. Early goals definitely needed. Sim is looking a positive note. Rasmus, Pulisic and Garnacho up front. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think it would be exciting. I think Højlund has really impressed me with how little service he has got compared to what he's actually offered. He should have 2 goals by now, because his goal against Brighton was definitely still in play, in my opinion, as well. Lucky says United need to more mentality speed tomorrow. We got to be quick. We got to be good tomorrow as well. Look, Burnley will be fancying themselves. It's a prime time for them to pick up points that they probably didn't think they were going to get in the first place. It's probably a time for Burnley to say, yeah, look, Manchester United's a club in a real mess at the moment. Maybe we can go out and get something out of this match. And that for them will be absolutely what they wanted. But looking at the fixtures, I think United's got a lot of winnable games in the next couple of weeks. I think we've got to get back on track, scoring goals, not conceding, and winning matches. That's what I think we've got to get moving on to. So look, United's next couple of fixtures, who have we got? We've got we of course have Burnley tomorrow. Then we play Crystal Palace. We play Brentford. We've got Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup as well. Galatasaray, Sheffield United. These are all winnable matches. I think Sim's got a good point in there as well. Hannibal for Eriksen. I would like to see that. I would like to see anybody really come in for Eriksen. I feel like the Eriksen Casemiro midfield, it's just so poor in this team. There's just no athleticism. There's no speed in that midfield. It's either Casemiro jumping in, missing tackles, or Eriksen just not tracking back. And I think that's a massive problem as well. I think we really need to fix that up. Maybe when Amrabat comes back, Manu comes back, we can get more midfield balance. Interestingly enough, it does look like Mason Mount will be moving onto the right-hand side with the Antony suspension, I guess, or absenteeism. So look, Mount on the right, it'll be interesting, I guess. Interesting one as well coming in from Jimmy Jackson. So David De Gea may retire if he does not receive an offer to be first choice goalkeeper at a major club. De Gea has rejected approaches from Saudi Arabia, with money not his motivator. And then he notes underneath, some Manchester United players are still unhappy with Ten Hag and the team for how they handled the De Gea situation as well. So look, this has been a long issue as well. Again, it comes back to player power. It really does. And one of Ten Hag's quotes here does show that as well. It shows some of the laziness in this team. He has said, we speak about tightening the defence. It's 11 players. We attack with 11. We defend with 11. When 1 or 2 players don't do their job and do not work, it's a house of cards. And not just 1 or 2 players who are involved. The entire team will collapse. So Ten Hag knows what he's saying as well, and despite the fact he might come out in his public press conferences, he might say we play well, he will know as well that we haven't been doing good as well. So Fresh is down there. Hannibal has been showing quality for years in the Championship and in the youth. I can't understand how he doesn't get more first team opportunities. Yeah, look, and he scored last week. Maybe we bring him in against Burnley. I really don't want to see Eriksen and Casemiro in midfield. I just don't think we get the athleticism, the legs needed. We get outworked in every match. They don't track back. Even Scott McTominay, a player who really is known primarily for his work rate, for his approach to the game, has been letting us down. And we seen it clear as day the other night as well. The referee ran from the Bayern penalty box to United's penalty box faster than McTominay did. I mean, that's the sort of levels of laziness that we're talking about. And that's why I think a lot of these players got to move on. I really, really do. Lucky's down there as well. I think it might have cut off there, Lucky. Jordy, good to see you, man. Hope all's good. Sim is saying as well, players need to do their job and not worry about players that are not here. Yeah, look, if you're a professional, you got to turn up. And you can't just say, I don't feel like working hard today because Sancho's not in the squad. Like, these players wonder why they're not winning any major trophies, why they're not getting picked for their countries, why there's issues at this club. I think the best thing United can do is just purchase a mirror and put it up in the dressing room. The the main reason why we're not doing well on the pitch, it comes down to the players as much as anything else. Um, Ericsson has been eating the soup, same as Martial. There's absolutely no work rate from him at all. Hannibal will be much more all round, says Greg. Would agree with that one, absolutely. Casemiro and Ericsson look like tired players when they play together. Yeah, look, they really do. I actually had asked as well the other night, and look, I've not really done too much of research into this. It's more just a general question, really. Do we think that Casemiro played better last year because he had Fred alongside him? I mean, that's a lot of legs, it's a lot of work rate, it's a lot of enthusiasm and attacking at the ball that's missing from the team. I mean, Ericsson's never going to do that. Like, never, ever going to get that out of Christian Eriksen. Maybe someone like Amrabat comes in and it gives us a balance. But I would prefer United not to be relying on players not injured. I really, really, really wouldn't. As well. But look, a lot of people not happy with the whole Samuel Luckhurst thing as well. I've seen a couple of comments go in today as well, questioning the guy as well for the way he gets on. Wouldn't mind seeing Luckhurst banned from United's pressers because the guy genuinely is toxic as well. 19 votes on the poll. We got 79% going for the win, 11 for the draw, and 11 for the loss. If you guys haven't already voted, make sure to get them in down below, of course, as well. Will be interesting to see what happens in tomorrow's match. How do we respond? How do we bounce back? Will we bounce back at all? That's got to be the question. And look, even last year we took big beatings. We got smashed at Anfield. We got beat by City 6-3 at the Etihad. We shipped 4 to Brentford, but we bounced back last year. After every single big loss United took, we went on a winning streak last year. And whether or not we can do that in this game, it's going to be very interesting. We want to hope so. We shouldn't really need a massive performance to get over the line against Burnley. But something tells me United's either going to struggle and not win the match, or we're going to have to go out and play as hard as we can and see what happens. We should be turning up to the likes of Burnley, winning the match comfortably. That's what we got to be doing. We really, really have got to be improving across the board. And look, I think tomorrow's match will be really, really interesting, and we'll probably find out a lot about these players, maybe more so than we already know. Maybe more so. Maybe we'll find out something about Erik Ten Hag. Maybe he makes some changes tomorrow that we didn't see coming. I hope he does. I really, really hope he does. And we have some team news as well coming up for the Burnley match tomorrow. So let me just quickly pull this one up. Sims down there, no more jogging and walking a pace. It's like watching over 50s football. No, absolutely, man. There's no desire from these players to chase back. There's no desire to put the hard yards in and do the hard running. A lot of these players are just jogging back. And it's so, so frustrating. And if we go back and look at a lot of the matches that we've considered goals in this year, every single one of them, we're getting caught out with cutbacks. And the reason why we get hit by cutbacks time and time again is because the midfield's just not tracking back. That's where the midfielder meant to be. The centre backs go with the striker, but it's always a midfielder pulling into that position, ready for the cutback, ready to get a shot off. And that's so frustrating as well, because if the midfield were back, they'd probably deal with those scenarios. That has to be one of the biggest issues, in my opinion. And look, I feel for Andre Onana. This guy's come into the club, a big personality, coming and trying to replace David De Gea, and he's getting pelters left, right, and centre. Has he made mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. Made a real bad mistake midweek against Bayern. But a lot of these goals and a lot of the sheer amount that we're conceding, if we were not having 5 or 6 shots from the opposition in our penalty box, completely uncontested, we wouldn't have conceded that many goals either. Stephanie's down there. Is Nick Luckhurst even a United fan? I know Jimmy Jackson isn't. We were spoiled with David Meek. On a positive note, it's been good for what Hoyland's been brought in so far, considering the circumstances. I think it's a brace tomorrow night. Stephanie reckons we're missing Wan-Bissaka. I mean, yeah, look, I really, I'm not impressed with Delo. I just don't see it. I really don't. Is he better on the ball? Slightly. Is he better defensively? No, he's not. And it's not like he pulls out assists left, right, and center either. I don't think Delo's good enough. I really don't. I think there's a reason why Ollie wanted to move him on. A lot of people clamored for Delo to stay, mostly because it was at a time when Ollie couldn't do anything right. And but yeah, look, I don't see it, but I do think it's a positive note that Greg has brought up there as well, talking about Hoyland. I think he probably should have had 2 goals, because I don't think they really could have overruled that goal against Brighton, because they didn't really have the technology to fully determine whether it goes out of play or not. But absolutely, I would say that Hoyland has done a lot with very little, and I think his performances are good. And even when he's not overly involved in the match, he's chasing down every ball. He's being physical. He's being strong. He's holding players off. He's trying to link the play. We can see a lot of work in him. He clearly wants to be here. He clearly wants to improve as a player, and I'm sure he'll make it. Look, he's got a long way to go. I did see that Sky Sports are trying to compare Hoyland to Harry Kane. Like, this is kind of what we're up against as well. Ridiculous reporting from some ridiculous outlets, but there's not too much we can really do about that one. But yeah, look, I've been impressed with Hoyland. I would fancy him for a goal tomorrow. We're going to see what happens. I think one thing we cannot do under any circumstances have the likes of Marcus Rashford taking 9 shots in tomorrow's match like he did against Brighton. I think we've got to be looking out for each other in the box, getting those passes off. I think that makes a big difference, but it is genuinely frustrating, guys. It really, really is. But hopefully these players coming back from injury can make a difference. I think Amrabat comes in, makes a big difference once he's back. He isn't as of yet fit, but hopefully he's back in training now. We can have him for the next match. I think Mount coming in, it's only going to be a good thing. I know he hasn't played overly well yet, but I think all things considered, he probably does a better job than Eriksen, either sitting in or playing out wide right. I think Varane coming back's a big one. I think Victor Lindelof is a guy who manages to escape a lot of criticism, but he really, really is so indecisive on the pitch, doesn't put the foot in, really struggles in the air. I think Lindelof has really mastered the art of camouflage, because he doesn't seem to get called out for his level of performances. Lucky's down there. I would always try to run. Absolutely. Look, I'm sure you would with a lot more passion than these guys would do anyway. Drop a like in the video, guys. We're up to 16 likes. Can we hit 20, Seth? Let's see if we can hit 20 likes on the video. Who else have we got down below? I remember when the evening news was like like the bedsheet. Yeah, look, Manchester Evening News like genuinely used to be a really, really good, credible organization, and it's nothing more now than just a clickbait blog covered with hundreds of ads everywhere you look. Lindelof only passes sideways and backwards. Risky passes makes him give the ball away. Yeah, look, I feel like Lindelof's a guy who gets rid of a lot of criticism. He always manages to do it. I think it's because a lot of the time when he does play, it's either with Maguire, and people look at everything Maguire does under a microscope. But I don't think Lindelof's that great of a player either. I really don't. But look, there's a lot United need to do, and there's a lot of improvement needed. And I think it's across the board. I think Varane coming in will hopefully help. But again, we're finding ourselves relying on a 30-year-old, 31-year-old defender who's always injured. It's not going to be sustainable. It's really, really not. Does Kobe Mino come in, make a difference? Hopefully, but again, as a young player, I think those players come in and they'll make some kind of a change to the team. I think maybe we get more legs, maybe we get more energy in midfield, and maybe that helps carry us through a lot of matches. And Lindelof is a good bench player at best. That's pretty much all I want to see from Lindelof. I don't want to see the guy starting. Really don't. Lucky says, I will try to help the team as much as I can. Yeah, look, I'm sure if a lot of us guys were out on the pitch, look, we might not be very good, but we'd at least try. We'd at least stick the foot in. make a couple of tackles or something. I don't know. At least show some desire, but we're not seeing it from United at the moment as well. So some team news as well to bring you guys for the Burnley match tomorrow. Of course, we're playing Burnley away, so Turf Moor, it's never a fun place to go. It might be one of those matches where it's just not an entertainer. Does look like they've got some injuries to their team, which I guess United probably need all the luck we can get at the moment. Let me see as well. We got 21 votes in the poll, so thanks very much for that one. Always going to be a bit more chilled out as well. It does this sometimes whenever you stream at a different time than you normally do, but it is what it is. Had to get it done early as well today, guys. So let me just quickly look at this as well. 3 players unavailable for Burnley. So hopefully this is going to make some kind of a difference for United tomorrow. United's boss as well provided an update on the availability of Varane, Mount, Amrabat and Maguire, which I think we've already touched on as well. Lyle Foster out for Burnley. Michael Obafemi will be out as well. So that's quite a few players out for Burnley. But yeah, look, in terms of the players, we have Amrabat training by himself, so he's getting close to return, but not ready yet. Varane and Mount back in first team training with the rest of the squad, so pretty safe to say they will be involved tomorrow. I don't think it's a bad idea. We need subs, we need changes, let's bring them back in. Kobbie Mainoo, he's not quite back yet either, but a lot of these players hopefully going to be back as well. Sim's done there. Mainoo doesn't need this, and he's 18. Leave him to develop. Yeah, look, absolutely. He will get development. I think playing first team football will help him. I think he's definitely got a route into the team this year. And I think with Eriksen and Casemiro playing the way they are, he will get his time. And before he got injured, he was getting his opportunity. He was playing against Real Madrid in a preseason friendly. He played against Arsenal, did really good as well. Played a couple of times last year, so it's about easing him into the team. He's not going to be in there week in, week out. It'll probably be how we worked Garnacho into the team last year. A lot of substitute appearances, maybe playing in the EFL Cup, maybe playing FA Cup third round against Wycombe Wanderers, stuff like that is how you work the guy into the team. You give him minutes, and maybe by the end of the season, he's ready to start some matches. And then you've got another really, really good player in there. Like Mainoo, I really think as a player can do a lot, and I'm excited to see how he's going to develop. Make sure to drop a like on the video as well, guys. I think we're up to 17. Luman is down there. How can Casemiro's legs go from great to bad in one season? I think a lot of it, even last year, towards the end of the campaign, he was struggling. He struggled mainly after the Carabao Cup match. So that seems to be when the performances kind of dropped. Because we went on an international break. We went to Newcastle away. We got beat. We were beat by Liverpool at Anfield 7-0. You know, it kind of spiraled down at that point. But I think that the main thing with Casemiro is he's kind of went from having a player alongside him to being the only guy holding down the midfield. I think when he had Fred beside him, Fred did a lot of the work as well. It was a shared workload. I think when Eriksen plays, he doesn't really do anything. Yeah, he gets on the ball, but he doesn't do any of the defensive work. You're not going to see Eriksen put a tackle in. You're not going to see Eriksen track back or know how to pick up a runner into the box. I think Fred gave you that. That's why I think we got to stick someone like Amrabat in there whenever he's back and fit, because that's just going to give us more stability and more legs in midfield. And from there, I think we're going to see a better team. We'll be conceding less goals, we'll be moving the ball faster and better, and we can really put a press on as well. Lucky wants to see some Hannibal as well. I think Mesbury is a player hopefully going to get his opportunity moving forward this season. I think he's done well so far when he's played. I think his goal was deserved against Brighton. I would like to see some of Hannibal as well. I think you've got good young players in there, in Mainoo and Hannibal coming through from midfield, Dan Gore as well. I don't think they're really ready to start matches, but I think you can definitely ease them into the team. And with Eriksen and Casemiro looking so tired, look, I would really like to see them both not play together moving forward, because there's just not enough there, in my opinion, to really make it work out as well. Some more people joining in, guys. Get voting on the poll. What are your predictions for tomorrow's match, by the way? United versus Burnley. Will it be a win, a loss, a draw? Let me know it down below as well. Get a like on the video, and if you guys are new, please consider hitting that sub button. But I think when we look at Mesbury, at Mid coming through, I think we don't want to see too much of Eriksen Casemiro. I think it's too easy to bypass. There's no legs, there's no running, there's no intensity there. That's a big issue for me. So I think that'll probably open up minutes for Hannibal and for Cobby moving forward. And I hope that both of them will have the opportunity to do so, because you have two really good young players in there, really, really talented, a lot of potential, a lot of ability. Let's see what happens if they get given an opportunity, if they're given the chance to shine for Manchester United. And that's what I think we can do. Do I think we should drop the whole team and play the youth academy? As tempting as it is, I don't think it's a good idea either. I think we've got to balance it out. I think you've got to be um, somewhat sustainable with it. Because look, if a lot of those young players go out, and what'll happen is they're not physically developed. What'll happen is they're not ready to play that against grown men, against professional players. They might go out and get dominated. And then what happens? You're looking at shattered confidences. So it's about easing those players back in. That's what I think is so important. Lucky wants to see Eriksen rested tomorrow. I think, yeah, absolutely. Drop the guy. I don't think he should be in midfield United moving forward. Definitely not in the deep midfield positions. Maybe as a backup to Bruno Fernandes. Maybe that's what Eriksen could be used for. But I don't want to see him deep. I really, really don't. I think, yeah, look, it could be good having someone on the ball in there, but I don't think we're really a team who's going to hold enough possession and be high enough up the pitch to really have someone like that work out. I think we need someone more combative in there. I think, certainly for me, Amrabat's probably going to be that guy moving forward this season. What happens across next season, we don't know what's going to happen. We might see two new midfielders brought in. Let's find out. Going to be interesting to see how Mount fits back into the team. I think we do need him in. I think we need him playing well. Hopefully he can do that as well. So any more thoughts, guys, make sure to get them in down below. And if you guys haven't already, please consider hitting that sub button. I think Stephanie said earlier, we're really close to 2K. We need 13 subscribers. Only 13 to go as well until we hit that landstone. Sim says, with the problems, it looks like a loss, and these players have got forward for downing tools, and that's what it looks like to me. I hope not. I hope not as well. I hope it's just a case that it's burnout, that the team aren't playing well, that a lot of this is an overreaction. I hope that's the case, because we've seen what happens before. It can and will derail an entire season. So that's my concern. But I think if we look back at previous managers, the last two permanent managers, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho, both had players turn on them around this part of the season. Both of them were sacked pretty much by the end of September, and the season was as good as dead already at that point. That's my concern. Is this happening again? I don't know. Martinez was legging it through midfield to Mark Kane against Bayern. Yeah, look, I don't think Martinez is back to his full fitness either. He doesn't look to be the player he was last year. I think he's got a way to go yet. Stefan, is tomorrow's lineup and result determine who is right and who is wrong in the dressing room? I don't know. I think it'll be interesting, man. I do, because I think the natural thing that people are going to do, if you're a pro Ten Hag and you want Ten Hag to stay as the manager, I think people will look if he drops a player or two and say, yeah, look, he's dropped a few players. And I think the people who are against Ten Hag, if Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes start, which they most certainly will, because nobody else is in any sort of form or nobody else is going to play, then they're going to say, yeah, look, favoritism. Why is he not playing Sancho? We've been down this route before. Double A is down there as well. Hope all's good, man. I've been good as well. Drop a link so you can rejoin the live show tomorrow. Yeah, man, don't worry. It will be up on the channel, of course, as always. But I will get that in as well. But yeah, look, guys, I will say this here as well. I think if Rashford plays and Bruno plays, you'll find yourself in a position where there'll be people out there who don't want Ten Hag saying, yeah, look, he's got his favourites, he's picking these players again, there's no accountability. I completely agree. I think some of them should be dropped. I would like to see Garnacho play tomorrow over Rashford, but I don't think it's going to happen. And as much as we want Garnacho just to go out and smash it up, I don't think there's enough evidence across his United's career, really, that he's a guy who can walk into the team and play a full 90. I don't think he's really shown it in the full 90 yet. And I think this is the same situation we found ourselves in. I remember under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, everybody telling us online that Donny van de Beek can play holding midfield. You don't have to play McTominay and Fred. And you should be playing Lindelof and Eric Bailly over Maguire, or you should be playing Alex Telles over Luke Shaw. Like that's kind of what we're talking as well. And Lucky says we should easily beat Burnley as well. Yeah, look, we should be, absolutely. What am I discussing today? I've been looking at the issue of player power at Manchester United. Looking at a lot of the leaks coming out today, kind of talking about them, going through them. Because look, this is nothing new. This is a cycle that we're in, where we find ourselves constantly, as soon as a few matches go wrong, as soon as the results go wrong for 2 or 3 weeks, and we lose 3 or 4 matches, then all of a sudden we find ourselves in a position where there's all these leaks coming about saying the manager's not good enough, that there's such big problems at the club, that the manager has his favourites, that the manager has he's not treating people fairly, so that's kind of where we find ourselves, because the same thing happened under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the same thing happened under Ranić and Jose Mourinho, even Louis van Gaal, probably David Moyes as well, was accused of having his favourites and stuff in the team. It's a long running issue, but every manager has their favourite players. It's a fact, like that is just the way of life, because you don't like everybody the same anyway. Like that's just the way it is. But I think a lot of these players who are not getting into the team, who think they should be, some of them had the opportunity to leave in the summer. The likes of Maguire, McTominay, Donny van de Beek, probably Martial, probably Sancho had the opportunity to go. If they wanted to go and if playing minutes was their big thing, they should have left. Prove that it's not a football thing. Dean Henderson proved that he wanted playing minutes and he didn't care about the wages. He didn't care about that. He wanted to play football. He went and joined Crystal Palace. So that's what you do if footballing and playing matches is the actual complaint you have. I think a lot of these players, if they actually turned up and played better, I think they would find themselves in the team. Like, you can't tell me Antony's performances were so good that Sancho, no matter how good he played, would find himself left out, because Antony really wasn't doing it either. You can't really sit and tell me, if Maguire was playing 10 out of 10, he wouldn't be starting, because the centre backs are struggling at the minute, and it's the same across the board. It really is. Sims down there. Rashford doesn't show for a full 90 minutes. It's Moments FC. Give Garnacho a chance. I think Garnacho does deserve a chance. I think the only way he develops into a player who can play full 90s and be effective for 90 minutes is by playing more matches and starting more matches. I do think that. But I think if we look at him overall, a lot of the time when he has played, he's struggled to make an impact. Because he's really good at coming on and running up players when they're tired, with his speed, with his pace, with his braveness. But sometimes it doesn't always work as well. Luman says, I'm right, every manager has his favourites, but the important thing is that the player should be successful and produce results. Yeah, look, absolutely, they should be. But my question as well is, who are we going to replace these guys with? I mean, as bad as Eriksen and Casemiro were midweek, the only real sub we had was Scott McTominay. I don't think you can really turn up and put Hannibal Mejbri in a pivot at the Allianz Arena. I just don't think you can do that. I mean, Højlund came off and the only striker we had was Martial. Garnacho was the only wide player to cover Pellistri and for Rashford. We had Johnny Evans, Lindelof and Martinez at centre-back. So it's all well and good saying that we want to see these players dropped or someone else needs to come in, but who's going to come in? Like, that's also the issue as well. I think United's injuries are really not helping. I think the lack of squad depth doesn't help either. Because look, take City for example, right? If, for example, Phil Foden was playing bad on the wing, they could put Jeremy Doku on. Or on the other side, say they wanted to take De Bruyne off, then they can just go, right, okay, we'll take off De Bruyne, let's put on Foden into midfield, or let's put Jack Grealish onto the left and move Foden back in the midfield. Or Liverpool can say, let's take off Cody Gakpo and put on Luis Diaz. Let's take off Darwin Núñez and we'll put Salah through the middle. Like, they have options. United's options is genuinely Johnny Evans for Maguire, for Lindelof or Martinez, Oh, we want to take a left back off. We don't have another left back. We don't have another right back either. So I don't think that's helping as well, guys. Sinkins down there. Hope all is good, man. I'm having a good Friday. Looking forward to tomorrow's match. Hopefully going to be United win. Hopefully going to be a positive run of form, because we have very winnable matches. We really, really do. I was just calling some of them out earlier as well. A lot of them seem to be matches that if we turn up and put in a decent performance, we should be winning. I'm winning fairly comfortably as well, I would say. So look, United, we play Burnley tomorrow. Tuesday we play Crystal Palace. Then Saturday we play Palace again. Then we play Galatasaray. We play Brentford, Sheffield United, and Copenhagen. And then we have to go to the Etihad, play Man City. But look, that's obviously a completely different thing. But we should be beating Burnley. We should be beating Palace home and away in the Carabao Cup as well. We should be beating Galatasaray at home. We probably should be beating Brentford at home as well. Sheffield United should be beating them very comfortably. Then we've got Copenhagen, another win that we have to win that one. I think playing City at the Etihad, yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. I can't see us getting anything out of that match, if we're being honest. But even after that, if we play Fulham, we should be beating Fulham. We should beat Copenhagen again. We should beat Luton. Everton we can beat. Galatasaray we can beat. Newcastle, that'll be a hard one. Chelsea, it depends on what Chelsea team you get by that point. But a lot of these matches coming up, they're very, very winnable as well. Why can't Hannibal play at the Allianz Arena? We would rather get beaten by a motivated player than these seniors. Yeah, look, I think the problem is Hannibal, you're looking at a guy who has started 1 or 2 matches in his United career. I don't think that's fair of a situation to put him in, especially not the way football goes now. If Hannibal made a mistake, or as he's prone to do, jump into a tackle and get booked, then all of a sudden he's got online fan base going after him. But I don't think he's like physically ready. I don't think he's got the mental fortitude to play in a pivot against Bayern Munich, doing a lot of defensive work, because he's a more attacking midfielder. He probably would have done better than Eriksen, but it comes down to young players can get caught out in matches like that. They can, unless they have a lot of experience, which Hannibal just doesn't have. He's played Championship, but Champions League is a lot different than Championship football. So I think he could play at the weekend. I think you can put him in against Burnley. I think he does a better job than Christian Eriksen, but I don't know if it's too fair to put him in. If you go back and watch any United team from the early 90s, we didn't really play Scholes and Beckham and players like that all the time, especially not in the big matches. You went with the more experienced players and hoped that experience could try to win the match for you. That's kind of the point. Sims down there, we've got Rasmus now, feed him with players who are going to pass him. Rashford is not that guy. Absolutely not. I mean, 9 shots against Brighton last week. That kind of shows that as well. So I feel like Rasmus can score goals off very little. But if you give this guy service, he'll score a lot of goals. I know Haaland is an exceptional player. Haaland scores a lot of goals. But my problem is with, if you look at Haaland, look how many chances the guy gets. Hoyland probably gets 30 goals in that time as well. So, Sinka says, listen, if we did our research, we wouldn't worry about our performance under Ten Hag. Whenever he has been his best, teams are always struggling at the beginning of the second season, become good. We also have too many injuries. Yeah, look, the injuries don't help either. I don't know what's happened at United. There was a story came out, said there is no head of medicine at Manchester United. We've had an interim in from the start of the year, but that's about it. And now we've got a new head of medicine come in, of fitness, the guy from Arsenal. I think he's Gary O'Driscoll. But yeah, look, that hopefully is going to make a difference. Hopefully that makes some sort of difference to Manchester United, because our players are dropping like flies. They really, really are. So hopefully we can keep players fit, we can build up form, and then we can start winning more matches. I think that's an issue, absolutely. You're right to call that out as well, man. Alright guys, I'm going to leave the stream here, but there is a video up as well posted just today if you guys want to check it out after. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments on that one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If there is a watch along, I will post tomorrow, but I'm not 100% certain, so I don't want to put a promise out there and not deliver as well. So thanks so much for watching today, guys. Have a good Friday, have a good Saturday, and hopefully United get the win tomorrow. Alright guys, thanks so much. I will see you guys in the next one.